We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
John. John wants his 5.1 back. Currently, his speakers are the Klipsch Icon VF-35 Towers, Klipsch R14S surrounds, and a Klipsch SW450 subwoofer, making the 4.1 system. He got a Klipsch RC52
Yeah.
2? Is that what this is? 52 II center. But after mounting his TV on the wall, the center stuck out from the wall too much, and he didn't like the way it sounded. Wait, I'm sorry, wait, it looked. Can we recommend a center speaker that's slimmer than the Klipsch, or maybe an in-wall in the $200 to $400 range? Klipsch makes an in-wall in the reference series. Is it a good choice? He's also looked at the KEF T301C, and would it timbre match with at all with the Klipsch's?
That second one, no.
Nope.
It definitely won't.
This is your problem.
So
when you buy Klipsch, it's kind of like buying an Apple product. You can find things that'll play with it nicely, but a lot of stuff don't. And that's sort of where you are. So my recommendation is to stick with Klipsch. So if you've got an in-wall option here, that's what I would do. I would do a Klipsch in-wall option and just leave it at that, because everything else, I mean, there's lots of options out there. Anything that's horn loaded and is a very efficient speaker design can go with Klipsch. What you don't want to do is try to pair them with something that is less efficient and has a completely different type of tweeter configuration, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think those VF-35 towers, I'm not recalling 100%. I think they were 96 or 98 dB efficient.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
You would expect for Klipsch. That's not unusual at all. So
most
other speakers
level
aren't.
matching it all with another speaker. Like if you bought a center channel from someplace like Polk Audio, let's just take a name out of the
wildly different sounds.
Wildly different sounds, wildly different efficiencies, and my guess would be your receiver would take every one of the other speakers and they'd be on -12. They'd take the center channel that you bought and be at +12. You'd be like, what's going on? I'm like, what's going on is that you can't get enough, you can't put little enough to your rest of your speakers in order to be the same volume when you're level matching as your center channel. So that might not be the case. It might not be 24 dB difference, but it is going to be quite a bit different.
Yeah, so if you're sticking with your Klipsch speakers, because he's actually asking about that next, but if you're sticking with those, then yeah, getting a Klipsch in-wall, if you can do that, that makes the most sense. I'll say there is HSU Research. They do make horn-loaded speakers, including an in-wall version. However, they don't have an in-wall center version. They only have basically a two-way speaker, a horn-loaded tweeter with a woofer below it. You can mount it horizontally. It'll work just fine. But they don't have like one that's a woofer, tweeter, woofer beside each other type of design for their in-wall. But those might be okay, but I would probably just get the Klipsch in-wall if you're going to go that route. Now, if you're looking at on-wall speakers and you just want some decent sounding on-wall speakers that don't protrude from the wall too much, when I was searching for on-wall speakers, I had a heck of a time finding ones where I thought they actually had a good horizontal center, because what most of the companies do is they just take their on-wall speaker, they turn it horizontally, and they say, there you go. And it doesn't have particularly good wide horizontal dispersion. It doesn't timbre match even their own speakers when you turn them vertically. I was really disappointed with most on-wall speakers. So I found a couple that I liked. The major one were Revel. Revel has their C10 and M10 on-wall speakers. I think they're overpriced because they're about $500 each, and there's no way the component cost justifies that price tag. But they do sound good, so if you're okay with, I think, overpaying, they are good sounding speakers, and they're a nice design, nice slim on-wall design. I also do think that GoldenEar's SuperSat on-wall speakers, they're like I've always said for GoldenEar in general, and they make no bones about this. They don't go for perfect linearity. I can't call them the most accurate.
None of these speakers are going to timbre match with these. Well, the HSUs.
None of these. No, I'm saying coming up because he's saying he might replace all his Klipsch speakers. He might
okay.
Just
Let's
go for
get
new.
to that then.
So. Yeah, I'm throwing those out there. The GoldenEars and the Revels I liked as on-wall speakers. And once again, since it's me, I'll mention the Ascend Acoustics HTM-200s because they are sealed and only 6 inches deep and they can go on a wall.
All right, he's heard us mention in the past that the Klipsch Icon speakers are not very good. Have we said that?
I have said that. I'll stand by that.
I don't know
the Icon series. The Icon series was the exclusive series to Best Buy.
Oh, I will say that then too. I forgot about that part.
They were more a Best Buy speaker than they were a Klipsch speaker, and I did not think very highly of it.
That's right. He asked if would he notice a huge difference if he upgraded his mains in addition to a center, and if so, what do we suggest? His room is 1824 cubic feet and open to the kitchen. So does the 1824 include the kitchen?
No.
Okay, so it's huge.
But what it indicates is that just the theater area is fairly small, so it's unlikely he's sitting really far away from his speakers.
Yeah, I have. Okay, so you own Klipsch speakers right now, and that's fantastic. Okay, I got no problems with that. You've bought speakers from Best Buy, and I've got no problems with that either. So the one that so if we go up here, he said that Klipsch makes an end wall in their reference series lines. Now you're going to take your reference series and you're going to match it with their Best Buy exclusive series. I'm guessing you're going to notice a little bit of difference in quality, and you're going to end up having to upgrade everything at that point. I mean, honestly, I think you're going to go, whoa, this is way different than what these other ones were when it kicks in, because remember, the center channel is really doing mostly just the voices, so maybe you won't notice that much of a difference unless you're listening to like surround sound music or something like that. If it were me, I would probably think about, if you're thinking about buying a Klipsch reference series center channel, you could spend a lot less money, I think, overall, and just upgrade all 5 of your speakers in this case, because you're not sitting that far away. 1824, you're probably sitting within 8 to 10 feet of your main speakers, I would guess, just by looking at that number, and maybe even less. And it's just, you know, the cubic feet, when we get down to that, that's what we're worried about for subwoofers, not worried about for speakers. When we're worried about speakers, we want to know how far away your head is from them. And in this case, your head's not going to be very far, which means you do not need the raw output of the Klipsch, which, by the way, your volume knob must be very bored in its life because it doesn't have to turn very high in order for these things to get very loud. So if it were me, I would be thinking about upgrading to a completely different set of speakers. That being said,
but he does have the caveat of wanting a center speaker that doesn't stick out very far from the wall.
That's fine.
That is the big catch.
That's fine. But really, more than that, though, we cannot just say, oh, go try our favorite speakers. They're way better than the speakers that you have. Because the fact is that we don't know what you really like. We know that you like these speakers, which is great. So and
they have a characteristic
sound. They
do.
So you need to go out and start listening, and then you need to come back to us and say, I've listened to these speakers and these speakers, and I wouldn't worry so much about form factor at this point. Okay, when you go out and listen to speakers, it would be easier for us if you came back and said, I heard some GoldenEar this, or I heard some Focal this, or I heard some Polk Audio this, and I liked it. Monitor Audio, Paradigm.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to think of all the stuff that's rolling on. B&W.
Probably Kef will probably be out there.
PSB for sure. All of these speakers. I heard this speaker, and this is what I liked that sound. What can I get for and it's got to be flush to the wall. Then we can help you. Help you. And then a budget too would also be a big help for us. But
well, he's saying, $200 to $400 range for the center, so I'm assuming the rest of the speakers would be in a
about
similar
$1,000
price bracket.
is what he's looking for. About $1,000. I could come up with $200 to $400. Yeah, around the $1,500. We could easily come up with some recommendations in that price range for a 5.0 system.
Yeah, see, it's funny because most people who listen to both Klipsch and GoldenEar, if they really like one of them, they really dislike the other one.
Exactly.
because both of them have characteristic sounds that are quite different from one another. So there is no right or wrong. If you really love GoldenEar, that is awesome. I happen to like them. I happen to like them more than Klipsch. That's my personal preference. But if somebody tells me they love Klipsch and they really don't like GoldenEar, I have zero beef with that.
But I've sat in the home theater that was all reference series Klipsch, and I've been like, this is fine. This is great. I got no problems here watching the movies at this house. You know, I'm not having any problems there. So I think that you should upgrade your whole speaker system. That's what I think you should. If you're going to start spending money on the center, I think you got to just start over. That's really what I think you should do.
It might all end up being Klipsch again.
And you know what? That would be
absolutely
great.
Possible.
That would be fantastic. If you did that, I think that would be great. Because
just
then you would know. You would know. All right, so next he asks, is it worth it to buy amp his mains? He's read some people say it makes a difference and some say it doesn't. What do we say? We say the people who say it makes a huge difference either have a very active imagination or they have a very big room.
Very big.
And really
and sit very far away.
Sit very far away and have very inefficient speakers.
Or have really underpowered amps.
That could be.
I mean, sometimes they're bi-amping with a pair of 3-watt tube amps. In which case, well, you doubled your power, so maybe you'll hear that.
No, and specifically in your case, I can imagine no situation where bi-amping your mains would in any way make any appreciable difference.
Nope.
You use to hear the movies and music that you're listening to the fractions of a watt.
0.2 of a watt.
99% of the time. And the other times it's like 2 watts. You know what I mean? I mean, it is really not a lot of amperes going in there. Bi-amping your mains. No, I mean, I've said this before in this podcast, and I'll probably say it again. If you have a 9-channel or 7-channel amp and you're only running 5 point whatever, and you want to buy amp them because there's an extra amp channel, so you figure you might as well knock yourself out. I don't care. Just it's not gonna make any appreciable. It's not gonna make any difference at all, especially not in your case.
Agreed.
If it's not worth doing that, which it's not, he was thinking about adding Atmos up-firing speakers. What do we think about that? I think if you're going to be buying a whole new speakers for your system, what about actually putting some speakers on the ceiling if you can get away with it?
Sounds like maybe that's not an option.
If it's not an option, then there's hit or miss with these things. A lot of people have tried it and they have liked it, and there's a lot of people who've tried it and they have not. So
yeah, I mean, interestingly, now I haven't heard all the upfiring speakers that are out there, far from it, in fact, but I have heard the Klipsch ones, and I think they were the best ones out of the ones that I've heard. The Klipsch upfiring ones gave the best illusion of the sound actually coming from above me, and I actually think their horn-loaded tweeter has a lot to do with that. I think having that directional, controlled directivity actually makes the ceiling bounce work a lot better than the ones that are either just absorbing everything that goes to the sides with foam or really not doing it at all and just having sound make it directly from the speaker to your ear in a straight line. So if you are sticking with Klipsch, I actually quite like Klipsch's upfiring speakers. I thought they did a pretty darn good job of creating that illusion. So I'll throw that out there if it's not.
And honestly, you could use those Klipsch upfiring modules with any old speakers. You don't have to.
Absolutely
you do not have to match them with Klipsch speakers, even if you find new ones. And you know what? I'd be okay with that because it would be. I mean, these are the down firing sounds, which are supposed to be kind of weird anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. All right. We talk a lot, he's talking about us now, we talk a lot about dual subs. He doesn't really want to buy 2 more subs, so could he pair an SVS SB1000 with his Klipsch? If not, would simply replacing the Klipsch with an SVS be a good option? Which is the Klipsch he has?
So the Klipsch he has is the 10-inch 200-watt ported one, which is okay.
Yeah.
It plays down to about 28 hertz or so, flat. You know, it plays a little bit below that, but that's more or less where it's tuned.
But we know he's got 1850 or so cubic feet, plus a kitchen, plus the hallways, plus the plus.
It would be, ideally, we would be upgrading your sub.
Yes.
Ideally, we would. But, getting 2 that are both
I don't think that
that's substantial.
Yes, I don't think that taking a SB1000 is going to be enough for this area. I don't think it's a
I might not
sub.
recommend it all on its own anyway.
No, I don't think I would. If you said PB1000, I would be more inclined to say okay. The SB2000,
That's getting pretty pricey.
Getting pretty, well, it is, but
So I mean, I immediately thought of HSU's STF-2.
Yeah, well, because that would
actually
be the one that would pair as far as what the output
Yeah.
capabilities and extension would be with this HSU,
However,
with this Klipsch.
HSU went and discontinued that model. One of my favorite.
That's like
inexpensive
350,
subwoofers
right?
out
That was a
there.
350
It
sub?
was 350. Now you have to go up to 400 for their VTF-1 MK3, which is basically the same sub but with variable port tuning. Still a great sub, still an appropriate choice to pair with your Klipsch. But it's just now $50 more expensive, which is unfortunate. So I'm very disappointed that HSU discontinued that STF-2. But the VTF-1 MK3 is out there. It's $400. It's, not unreasonable. It would pair quite nicely with your Klipsch. It's less expensive than the SB1000 even. So there's not really a lot of downside with going with that. But like we say, if we were starting from scratch and suggesting a subwoofer to you, we would probably suggest something that can play lower and louder than any of these options. We'd probably be pointing you to a PB1000 as your starting point.
Yeah, that would be the starting point. PB1000 would probably be.
I don't know if that helps him, but it gives.
Well, I mean,
gives
this
the
way he
background
ends up
information,
with two subs because his second option was just get rid of the Klipsch and get another and get an SVS. Now we want you
Get
to
a
have
single,
dual subs.
Yeah,
That's more important than having one bigger sub. You need two subs.
I think that VTF-1, that's a reasonable choice.
All right. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.